Alright, welcome back. This is Dog, and we are once again taking a look at Mountain Blade Bannerlord 2. I wanted to make a video really focusing on some of the decisions you make in character creation, but more importantly, some of the just how-to, a very basic guide to getting started, how things work as best as I understand it at this point, and in talking to some players who are brand new to maybe didn't play the first game and the game looks fun to them but they don't really know a lot about it, it can be a pretty frustrating experience, even just figuring out how things work in this game in the very beginning. So hopefully this video won't be too long, but we're going to just really focus on some of those first few steps you may want to take, and then just how some of the interface pieces work. When you are creating your character, some skills I like to look at early, even in terms of the decisions you're making. I really sort of from the beginning like to choose, am I going to focus on one-handed or two-handed? One of these two. I do recommend doing some amount of attention to polearm, because if you're going to be on horseback, then having some polearm skill is really nice. Again, choosing, am I going to use weapons that you can throw? Or bow, crossbow, or none of the ranged weapons. But these are all decisions that's helpful to make even before you've created your character. Having riding skill is really nice, and athletics. I cannot sell you athletics enough. Just being able to move faster, having better balance from the beginning. In fact, sometimes I will put all of the possible points in athletics you can right from the start. A lot of these down here you can grow as you go. You also can, if you don't have anything in scouting early companion, you can get, you can find one that's got good scouting rating, and that'll help you with your map awareness in the beginning. So I'm not too worried about that. Trade, I mean, it can be nice, but again, that's something you can build later, or you can supplement with your companions. Stewardship is really important, at least in the way that I play this game, but it is something that I don't feel like I have to get from the start, and it grows quite easily if you do things like start shops and caravans, set up caravans for trading. So those, again, those aren't, to me, the thing that's most helpful just to have as manageable a start as possible are things like athletics, riding, and then some amount of skill into weapons. So I'm just going to quickly. It really doesn't matter. In fact, it doesn't matter so much. I'm not going to even worry about it. We're just going to choose stuff because, again, this video primarily is going to be about just how to play in the very beginning, right? So whatever name is fine. Now, a quick note about the different difficulties. I do like to enable death, and if you hover over this, it chooses if the heroes are able to die on the battlefield. I think that is referring to companions as well, right? But certainly your own character. If you want to sort of have that risk of, this could end at any time, then enable that. I typically do enable that. I like to allocate my own clan members perks, so I leave that blank. A map movement speed, that's pretty nice. I mean, you could put it on easy. In fact, I think that having everything on easy, once you get a handle on the game, may be the way to go. If you don't want it to be too challenging, then put some stuff on very easy. I don't even know what would be the best thing to do very easy. Maybe player receive damage. Other than that, it's not too bad. But I guess the main point here is when you put stuff on realistic, like I wish this wasn't called easy. This could be called normal, or this could be called standard. Once you go to realistic, you're saying, okay, I want to play this in a much more thoughtful, careful approach. I think it also would speak to your skill in battle, how good you've gotten at battle. But if you want to be able to sort of relax a little bit, take chances a little more often, then at least having it down to easy makes sense. And don't feel bad about putting it on very easy. Again, all it's doing is, it's just moving those sliders a little bit. So I think I'm at the point where I'll probably, the new campaign I'm going to start tonight later, I'll probably do everything sort of like this. And then you start the game, and we will get going. Unless something comes up again where I need to make that space available, I'll do it back like this. Now, if you've never played before and you need to learn how to do combat, certainly spend some time. The issue with this game is that tutorial pretty much only teaches you combat. So spend some time in here. We're going to, for the purposes of this video, we're going to skip the tutorial because really what I'm wanting to talk to you more about is how the different systems work and sort of like the early things you're going to want to do. But that's not to say that if you're new to the game, you should skip the tutorial. You should definitely spend some time in there figuring out how do you, shoot the bow, duel with the different difficulty level opponents that they have in the dueling area. Do some of that so that you feel a little more confident with combat. If you're just itching to play, though, there's nothing that says you can't jump in and just learn the hard way, because if you're like me, you'll probably start several campaigns over anyway. In fact, the longest campaign I've gone to, I still have it going, but I'm sort of at the point where I'm making a lot of money. I can support a large army, but I still have a long way to go to build up reputations to sort of have an empire of my own. I mean, I'm sort of still following, I'm a fairly mid-sized fish in a big ocean still. So if you're like me, you'll probably start a lot of campaigns over. So sometimes it's just fun to get in there and learn the hard way. All right, so we're going to leave here and, family name and whatever. You pick all this. Again, for our purposes, it doesn't matter because I'm deleting this as soon as we finish this video. But this is what you're going to be looking at, right? It's just you starting in this area after you finish the tutorial. You do have some quests if you click on this button down here. But you really don't need to worry about these. I mean, these are quests that are going to be down the line. You'll run into these nobles as you're going about your business of building up your own group and leveling your skills. So don't worry about that. Rebuilding your clan, that will happen a little more quickly, but you see what all the goals are. You've got to reach clan tier 1. You have at least 1 companion, 20 party members, and then get twice as much of the dinars, the money currency, as you have now. So that one will happen relatively quickly, but I just wouldn't even worry about it. This is more just focusing on the sandbox. Based on our choices, we do have some skills to put in. So real quickly, I'm not going to go in depth in this, but what you have here are attribute points that you get. I think it's every 3 levels. Those you're going to put in either vigor, control, endurance, and the list goes on and on. If we were to put it in vigor, what that's going to do is that's going to give us bonuses to all 3 of these. So you see with vigor goes one-handed, two-handed polearm. The other thing you have, so that's the attribute points. The other thing you have is focus points, right? So like right now we have a focus point. Let's say we wanted to put it in, what's something that needs some focus? It looked like charm was pretty low. This isn't really probably what I would do early, but just for an example, you see how small this green bar is? That is representing how much I can learn in this category. Well, we're pretty limited right now. So like with one-handed, we can learn all the way to this level with our current focus on one-handed. And we're learning at a rate of 8.36. So that's pretty decent rate. We're going to be learning that pretty quickly. But with charm, our learning rate is only 0.327, and we have hardly any regret. So if I push this here, I'm going to use my focus point. Now we've got all of this green here that we can learn into. Okay, so we've gone over attribute points, focus points quickly, and then the other thing to consider are your actual sort of skill choices. As you do learn, and because of the family tree decisions we made, we've got a couple of these we can put in. You choose between these 2 skill points. So we can either do edge placement or extra hit points. So do we want to do a little more damage with one-handed? If that's what we're going to use as one-handed, then that would be good. Or do we want to do hit points increased? Well, if we're probably going to use two-handeds more, then we probably want to choose extra hit points. So anyway, you choose one of those two. That locks it in. And you do that for any of these that you see that one show up in the shield in the bottom left. So we have a choice here in athletics and a choice in tactics. Okay, so that's a very brief overview to how skills work. As you move through these things with different categories, it is going to unlock significant things for you to be able to do. So you're going to want to look at those and pay attention to the choices you're making there. Early in the game, though, the first thing that you're typically going to do is go to a nearby town, one of the small little villages here, and you want to start recruiting your army. One of the cool things about this version of Mount and Blade, so Bannerlord 2, is that almost everything is accessible from this first menu. So let's recruit troops. We have 1,000 dinars, so we've got plenty of money, and so you just want to get yourself some buddies. And that's all we want to do. Let's check our food. Here, let me go back to this. So down here in the one thing you'll want to pay attention to, and the larger your army gets, the more you have to sort of take care of this issue, but you have to feed yourself and the companions or army that you've hired. Right now we have about 10 days worth of food with the current number of people that we have. So we're fine for now, but we'll have to take a close eye on that. This is showing you who is in the town, the pictures of these people at the top. If one of them had a quest for us, we'd see a blue exclamation point. So early on, you do want to do some of those quests. It's a good way to get a little bit of money and reputation with people while your army is still slow. Both slow as in not leveled up, as well as small is the word I was looking for. Let's go ahead and leave here, though, and we're immediately going to go down here. It shows the number that we have. We're going to recruit however many troops we can. So now we're up to 9 troops. How much food do we have? 5 days worth of food. So if they sell grain here, they do 16 per. Isn't too expensive. We're going to buy some of that. And then let's leave. So now we've got 9 total people with us. So now, really in the early game, the primary thing that you're going to be doing is finding small groups of looters that are about your size or smaller. And until you've leveled your troops up at all, you might want them to be smaller. But you're going to find looters and battle them. You're keeping the King's Road safe, right? Here's another little village. Let's get a few more troops. Check our food. We are at 14 days for food, so we're fine. Still no quest. There's some people we could go introduce ourselves to, but there's no quest, so we're just going to leave. And we have very low scouting, so we're not going to see looters until... Okay, here's a very fortunate event here. I didn't know that we were going to get to show you this, but I showed you the quest for Nuret's Folly. Talk to nobles. How you know that it's a noble you need to talk to is you'll see that exclamation point. So we actually need to go talk to them. We'll get the opportunity to introduce ourselves, and then we ask them, what is Nuret's Folly? They're going to give us some dialogue about the history of this battle. And once you have finished that, you'll get credit for 1 out of 10. So we need to find 9 more nobles to finish that quest. So again, that's something you'll be working on for quite a while, unless you really seek it out early. But I don't think there's any reason to. You don't want to move forward in the story too much before you have built yourself up. Okay, so let me just find one group of looters, because I want to at least show you sort of what you do after a battle with looters. Alright, there's a group of 12. So let's see if we can get a few more troops here. Recruit troops. We can get 3 more. And let's leave. And let's see if we can catch them. So it shows their speed is 4.9. Our speed is 5.3. So hopefully we'll be able to overrun them. So I can show you at least one battle here. Alright. So at least with the current state of the game, they kind of always say the same things. They don't back down. They're going to fight us. So this puts us into the map mode, into fighting. Alright, let's see what we have.
Everyone, infantry!
All we have is footmen. So we're going to move them forward. We'll make a shield wall, even though they're all basic, so they don't even have. So normally what I would do is I would set up my archers, get cavalry off to the side, be strategic with them. But given that all we have are foot soldiers with no shields, let's just try to take them out since we have better numbers. Alright, we got our polearm out since we're on horseback. So you can see, even though our troops are not leveled up at all, they were still able to easily take care of those looters. You can see here at the end of the battle what you up. So because we used our polearm there, we got a little higher skill points in polearm. We gained some morale. And now here you take to the loot screen. So unfortunately we didn't get any prisoners. I was really hoping we would get prisoners because I wanted to show you how you ransom prisoners very quickly and easily. But we'll definitely take all of this loot. Some of the loot included some food, which is nice. Okay, so at this point, after you have started to do this, you've gotten in a few battles with looters. What you will want to do is go to one of the main cities. We happen to be near this city, so we're just going to go here so I can show you. And a couple of things that you're going to be doing over and over. First of all, you can click on go to the Tavern District. When someone shows up here, Mickery Coalbiter, you know that that's a possible companion that you could recruit. Now, we don't have enough money to recruit him, but I do want to just make one quick note here. If you hit N and then look up Mickery, you can find that specific companion and see what his or her skills are going to be. So this looks like he's pretty much a warrior. He's got decent combat skills, including a 200 with two-handed weapons. So if you give him a two-handed sword, he's going to do pretty good with it. His riding and athletics are nice, so he's just a really good, reliable warrior. He's young, so you could have him with you for a long time. So in my mind, he would be a reasonable warrior to recruit as a companion, a decent early companion to help you with fighting. So that's the first thing. The second thing you do, again, all we did when we came here was we clicked on go to the Tavern District. The second thing you do here in the Tavern District, after you've thought about companions, is you ransom your prisoners. We didn't get any prisoners, so that option's not showing up, but you can ransom all your prisoners from this screen that quick. If they're looters, you're only going to get a few dinars for them, but that's fine. You're earning money. The last thing you do over and over again as you're slowly in the beginning trying to build yourself up is go to the trade menu. Now, on the right side of the screen, this is everything we have. Some of this we may want to equip because it might be actually better than what we have on. It looks like that's the only thing. We don't have any companions, so we don't have to gear them up yet. What I always do, and thanks to Amar for showing me this early on, you want to click on this lock button here on food. There's no point in selling food because you're going to go through it so fast. When you loot food off of a group, just keep it. And everything else we don't want. All this other stuff is just garbage. So we're going to click sell all. And it says down here, you're going to get 60 dinar. Now, I see that we have 13 days. You can click on the categories up here. So now I'm just looking at the trader's weapons, shields, and ranged, armor, horse and harnesses, and then miscellaneous. Miscellaneous is where you find food. So since I'm here, I might as well buy a few things of food. So we're going to move this slider down. So we're decreasing the amount that this trader has, and we're increasing the amount that we have in our inventory. You do, for morale's sake, want to get a variety of food. So like we might get 1 or 2 fish as well. But early on, you don't have to worry about that as much. But as your army grows, you want to have a variety of food so that your morale goes up. Once you're done, so this at the bottom is saying that we're going to pay 58. We're getting money for all that stuff we're selling, but we're purchasing a lot of food. So at the end of the day, we're paying 58 dinars, and now we're done. If you're injured, or if your people are injured, you can wait here for some time. You will heal faster if you're in a city like this than just out on the road. But that's pretty much all you're going to do early on, because what you're looking to do is build up your army size, you're wanting to make money off the stuff that you're looting, and you're wanting to start building up your skills so that you can survive in what can be a really tough world. I mean, you know, this game can be punishing. Early on, you can run into a group that's just bigger than you, and if you don't successfully slip away, you can end up a prisoner. I mean, there's a lot of terrible things that can happen. So some of these basic concepts are what you want to do initially. You know, at this point, we would leave. Oh, by the way, sometimes there's better troops, or at least more troops available to recruit in a big city like this. So if I was really going to be moving forward in a gameplay, you know, I would go ahead and recruit more. We're now up to 22. To me, around 20 to 25 is a reasonable amount to have early. You can make enough money from fighting the bands of looters, and then like small groups of bandits. You can make enough money to support that size, and you're just not in as much danger. The other nice thing is if you click on party down here, you can start to see where your recruits are gaining experience. So we can now upgrade 2 of our Imperial recruits into archers, and then let's do 2 of them into infantrymen. And I want to get some archers pretty early, so I'll probably do like half and half, go back and forth. But once you have a reasonable amount of archers, what I like to do is have about twice as many infantrymen with shields as I do archers. So maybe I've got 50 infantrymen, 25 archers, and 15 cavalry, or whatever, something like that. That way you can really protect those archers, put your infantrymen with their shield wall up in front of them, and then just let the archers pick off people. So we're paying 75 dinars here to do those upgrades. Anytime you do anything, always remember you have to click done or it won't happen. It'll just go back to the way it was. It'll be like canceling it out. Okay, so we've looked at basics of pretty much everything. The quest, I guess we haven't talked about clan yet, but early on there's not a lot to look at here. You can go ahead and give yourself a role. Like let's say you wanted to start building up your own scout skills. I think if you assign a role, it maybe does increase the amount. At least that's what it seems like. So it's always worth having a role. But once you have companions, what I typically do is just give all my companions the roles, because I'm typically recruiting someone that's really good at scouting to be a scout. I recruit a really good person with knowledge of medicine to be my surgeon. Tradesman tends to go with like quartermaster, and then engineer for when you're building siege weapons and stuff later in the game. So if you did have companions, you could look at them here as well and get an overview. We don't have any parties. We haven't created caravans yet. I'm going to probably do a separate video on buying shops and caravans, because those are really cool mechanics in this game that can really have a huge return on investment. You need that passive income each day from things like shops and caravans. And so we'll do a separate video, because that requires at least typically around 15,000 dinars to even think about starting that process. So that's not like something you're going to do early. Your shops actually show up under, and then your caravans show up under parties. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap this video up. I appreciate you being here. I know this has been very basic. I just wanted to, for folks that don't have a history with the first one of this series, or if you're thinking about getting the game, or have gotten the game but just getting started, these are some of the approaches I take when I'm first starting a campaign. And I try not to worry about too much else, because it's a complicated game. There's a lot of systems, and early on I just want to try to start building up my own character and party strength, so that I can then start engaging that other stuff that comes down the road. And you will definitely feel like you'll hit these milestones in Mount & Blade 2, where you'll all of a sudden say to yourself, am I playing a completely different game? And in some ways it does feel that way. You know, to me, the mid game is like a whole nother experience in some ways than what you're doing here early on. And I haven't really been to late game yet, but I'm guessing that will feel that way as well. Thanks for watching. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll try to next video maybe focus in a little bit on shops and caravans, because that's a pretty important step that the game doesn't make completely clear on how to approach that. I'm also thinking about doing a Let's Play series. Whatever my next campaign is, I may just, as I'm streaming that, I may try to upload most of that to YouTube as well. If that's something you'd be interested in, let me know. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.